It has been more or less 1 month since Secrets of the Obscure launched. I have thoroughly played through every aspect of the expansion, from the complete story to the full exploration of the new maps as well as the brand new strikes. A large chunk of the masteries are done. I have hunted many rifts and completed many metas, mostly looted the wizard vaults and rewards, fully explored the new relics and weapon master training. I've even started the collection for the legendary armor coming in patch 2. I'm locked, loaded and fully armed to make my final impressions on Secrets of the Obscure.
Lock and load. We're going in.
Free of the burden of the Elder Dragons, the writers aim to tell a new story. An independent story with a beginning and end which they can build upon in the next patches. I would say they succeeded in that. The story was long enough. I like the new demon, Cryptus villains they added. I do hope Peta will be more duplicitous than she seems at the end of the story. It would be somewhat boring and undemon-like for her to be a pure good character. Even though the game added a lot of new concepts like the wizards, Astral Ward, Cryptus, they rooted it in known locations and characters as the Wizard's Tower and Zoja. They brought back the ancient races like Seer, Mersat and the Dwarves. They even brought back Livia and answered a long-standing mystery with the Scepter of Ore. So, good job on the story.
Livia is here? Oh my god, that's a deep pull! Livia is here.
2 new maps were added, although to be fair it's actually 2.5 maps, because the new hub, the Wizard's Tower, is one of the biggest hubs we have gotten, with a lot to do and see. My fear that the Amnetos map would feel less developed as Skywatch Archipelago was unfounded. Even though Amnetos is smaller and not as filled as Skywatch, it is not by much. ArenaNet was very smart with the map design here. They reused many assets from previous expansions, but it doesn't feel cheap. It feels natural because the story introduces these alternate realities in the form of floating islands. They proved once again they're one of the best when it comes to map building. The expansion also added 2 new strikes to the game. It's an important part of the expansion, as strikes are the endgame group content for Guild Wars 2. Both the Dagda fight and the Cirrus fight are pretty nice. Not too hard, and they have some interesting mechanics. Both Dagda and Cirrus are very bulky, making the strikes last pretty long. A little bit too long to make them player friendly for dailies. It's why people don't like doing Harvest Temple as a daily as much. In the end, these are only the normal versions. It'll be interesting to see what they'll do for the CMs. On launch we got a collection of relics we could experiment with without having to buy the expansion. Even though those were nice, the real gems amongst the relics are only obtainable if you have the expansion. Some of them have nice visual effects, like Relic of Cirrus or Dagda. Others have a ton of synergy with bleeding, which was especially useful for my Condi Druid. Some of those relics are a little bit of a pain to unlock, but no pain, no game, right?
No pain, no gain.
The Wizard's Vault is another huge feature that was added to the game. It still is a great starting point for the future, but it also has some room for improvement. I would say it needs more rewards. I have been doing Wizard's Vault activities pretty casually and have gotten most of the rewards I wanted. It seems pretty easy to collect Astral Claim. There are players who have already bought out the Wizard's Vault for all of its useful rewards, while we still have more than a month to go before the season ends. Personally, I hope they add more worthwhile cosmetics to go for in Season 2 of the Wizard's Vault. Weapon Mastery was another feature that was added. I didn't really expect a big impact of making the specialization-specific weapons available for all specs. That being said, I do feel like some meaningful changes were made with weapon mastery. Warhorn, for instance, was kinda big for Ellie. Personally for me, Hammer was the biggest impact for Ranger. It became meta for most power builds. Of course, we're all waiting for the new weapons in patch 2. That's where the real fun will be.
This is where the fun begins.
Finally, even though legendary armor will have to wait for patch 2 as well, it is possible to start a collection and, oh boy, it's a lot.
Quite a lot of work.
Throughout the new and old maps you'll be able to find rifts that reward essences. In total, you need 21,000 T1, 7,800 T2, and 3,900 T3 of these essences. By using Crypto's motivations you'll get more essences per rift, but these motivations cost essences to make. Get ready to do a lot of rift hunting. Besides the essences, you'll also need to unlock the costly Astral Ward skins. In total, you'll be spending a lot of materials, research nodes, luck, provisioner tokens, ectos, gold, and most of all, time. Good luck. You're gonna need it.
Good luck. You're gonna need it.
Secret of the Obscure was the first step in the new content strategy for Guild Wars 2's future. Even though it was not perfect, it was a success in my book. They delivered new content and story that still felt familiar. They added new systems that should last the game for years to come. I'm only missing a big feature like a new race, a completely new weapon, or housing. I understand they can't add these big ticket items each expansion, but I do hope for one every other expansion. Housing seems like the easiest one to do, as much of the infrastructure already exists for guild halls and its decoration. I would be interested to see ArenaNet's take on housing. Secrets of the Obscure is a great first step, but ArenaNet can't rest on their laurels. They need to build upon this, and I for one am eager to see what they have in store for us next. Until next time.